Hi guys, and welcome down to the first Keeping You in the Loop podcast of the decade. This is episode 3. I am Luke from CoasterGen. I am joined by Joe from Theme Park Insanity.
Happy New Year, guys. Hope you're having a fantastic year so far. And good evening.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you were listening to this. Yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks.
Really has.
The holidays have been absolutely insane. But just quickly, did you watch the New Year's Eve fireworks on the BBC this year?
We definitely did. And to be honest, I don't know. I wasn't really sold this year. I mean, usually I really enjoy them, but I'm a bit unsure about this year's. What do you reckon?
I thought I mean, I know our sound isn't perfect, but I thought, so my dad has a big system, and we were listening to it through the system, and the EQ was so flat, it was horrible. There was hardly any bass. The song choices weren't great.
No, they were awful, to be honest.
And the coverage, the helicopters kept on panning over to areas where nothing was happening, and it was a bit disappointing. But a lot of people have said, who were there from the opposite side of the Thames, it was a lot better. So,
you see, I can believe that as well, because actually, from my point of view, even though the sound wasn't brilliant, which I have to agree with you on, and also the fact that one of the helicopters at one point actually shoved something straight in front of the camera lens.
Yeah, it was the
I mean, what was that? It's
it's what they land on, isn't it? That's what it was.
A landing gear.
Yeah, the like whatever they call it. Comment below what you call a landing thing for a helicopter. Rails, landing rails.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, my biggest thing was the fact that because there was so many fireworks going off, there was that much smoke that you could literally see nothing from that side of the Thames.
Yeah.
You could see everything from behind, but you could see nothing from where you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just from the TV, so God knows what it will like if you're actually there.
No, I know.
That's crazy.
And a lot of people looked bemused when it panned down after the show. And people were like, is that it? Is that done? The only thing I can think of is I watched a documentary on the guys who set the fireworks off there. I don't know if it was the same people, but the only thing I can think of is say they have 3 different types of displays they run due to the weather conditions. Now, a lot of people I know who were there personally said that it was very windy, so maybe they didn't run the full show, and that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be honest as well, the weather conditions weren't really great up here, sort of up north. So, to be honest, they probably weren't much better down south because it ain't really that far away, is it?
No.
So, But I know, I think, there's been better years, definitely. And I think, like you said, the sun choices weren't amazing.
No.
Whether I'm just showing my age or what, I know. I didn't know what half of them were. I mean, I knew what Pavarotti was, and I knew obviously what the White Stripes were, and a few others. And obviously, football's coming home is self-explanatory. But other than that,
it never comes home.
No, it doesn't, does it?
No,
not once.
No matter. It doesn't matter. We could have the best team in the universe, and it still wouldn't come home.
No, exactly. Although we did get as far as the semis last time, so I've got to give them that.
We did.
They did well there.
We did all right. Anyway,
indeed.
Cracking on. Just want to quickly say that us at CoasterGen are using Instagram through my account. You can follow us at LukeCGUK on Instagram. And basically, we're using my Instagram account as our community tab because we don't have one on YouTube right now. We're not at 1,000 subscribers yet. So hopefully in a year's time, we'll be at 1,000 subscribers and we can use the one on the community tab. But we don't have one. So if you want to know what's going on No Limits wise, behind the scenes, when we're on park, when we're, even just things that I'm up to myself, give us a follow on Instagram. I know we've got over 1,600 followers on there. So head on over, give us a follow back straight away. Shout outs to giving as well in the stories. So it's really cool. And also, you can get in touch with us for any questions what you have. I did put a post up today saying if you had any questions for the podcast, but nobody got back. But we got a couple through Twitter, which was pretty cool.
Definitely. So do you want to, I think since we're on that subject, I think we'll get those answered. So who are we starting with first then, Luke?
I think we'll start with Eddie's on Twitter, who asked, do you think that Oakwood will get a major investment anytime soon? As Speed was a long time ago. Now, I checked on Wikipedia earlier. I think that's Speed No Limits is what it's called. It was in 2006, I believe, when it was built.
That's true. So that's 14 years ago now, is it? I think
a long time ago. And Megaphobia isn't getting any younger. So
no, that is very true.
What do you reckon on that one?
I think, to be honest, I mean, it's like you said, it's been 14 years now since, the last investment. Not 100% certain on the sort of situation financially of the park. I know, obviously, people kind of sort of rave and big it up quite a lot and say what a great park it is. I mean, personally, can't really speak from experience because I've not been there.
It's like Gulliver's with a couple of coasters in it.
Right, so it's sort of similar sort of format.
The best way I can describe it to you, really. But Megaphobia is a good ride. Solid ride. Speed's a good ride, to be honest with you. That vertical loop is awesome. And the airtime hill really after it's cool.
That's supposed to be insane, isn't it? It packs a hell of a punch as you go over it, apparently.
Yeah, it's one of the smoother ones, definitely. Compared to Saw and all the others, it's definitely one of the smoother ones. But I think something like they need something big to happen there. Otherwise, because they've only put in traveling rides.
Yeah, I mean, there's another park which I'll come on to in a second, which, to be honest, has a history of doing that as well. I mean, from my point of view, comparing it really, from the impression I'm getting, it looks like it's sort of in a similar sort of situation, maybe not quite as badly as sort of Lightwater Valley, as much as I hate to say that.
Right.
I can potentially see, I mean, if they're going to do it and they're going to revive it possibly within the next year or so, because, surely they'll want to start that sort of custom coming back into the park. So I'm going to say for mine, I think probably 2021, 2022, probably, possibly at the most.
And
I think for Oakwood maybe, yeah.
Right,
and I think it has to be something that's going to really draw the crowds in. So I'm thinking maybe a big sort of coaster investment, depending on what, sort of investment they're wanting to make from their side. But again, like I said, if they want to bring that custom back in, it needs to be something that's going to draw those crowds in.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what happens with that one.
Maybe like an Intamin Hyper or something,
Yeah. I think that would be
or a Vekoma Hyper even, or even with B&M, but I can't see them putting a B&M in. But
no, I think
they could definitely put something like that in there. There's lots of space, and as far as I know, the height restrictions is pretty unlimited. So
that's really good. So there is a lot of potential there to put something really decent in that case, isn't there?
Well, Megaphobia's drop is huge.
I know. I've seen videos of it, but it's supposed to be absolutely immense.
Yeah, it's a great ride. It's a bit rough now. I mean, I rode it. I rode it. I think it was 30 times in a day. Don't quote me on that. It was around there. I was with a guy called Ethan, and it was literally it was chucking it down. And it was like, "What should we do? Well, let's just keep going. Let's go on Drenched and let's go on Megaphobia."
To be fair, I think with wooden coasters, the wetter they get, the better they actually are, to be honest. Because they get so much speed if the track gets wet. So
yeah, Wickerman's great in the rain.
It really is. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's obviously it's even better in the dark, but Wickerman in general is a really good ride, even especially when it's dry. So obviously, if it's wet, it'll be phenomenal.
It's solid. It's definitely a solid ride. Right. So anyway, you were talking about Lightwater Valley. So
indeed, yeah.
I've not been there for a long, long time. Long time.
I say this. See, Lightwater Valley was my sort of park growing up.
Oh, really?
I'm about 50 minutes away from it, drive-wise.
Oh, wow. We'll have to go.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we need to get a trip arranged, seriously. But, it's one of those that I've grown up with, that there is a lot of, sort of times in my life that I've spent there. When the middle school's closed, if you remember that, the last thing that our school actually did was take us on a school trip to Lightwater Valley, and they literally, because they had so much sort of cash left in the thing, they paid for the entire school to go. And that was, like one of the biggest trips we did. So stuff like that, and spending my childhood there, and also the fact that like my dad used to work for North Yorkshire Council, so he was out and about a lot. And when he took me to work on certain days, we'd go and sit behind the Ultimate on the road that's literally just behind there on a second drop.
Oh, cool.
Eat his dinner and look up at the second drop.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that aside, there's a lot of history there. And I think with the current state of the park, especially since we just got wind as well, looking on Wikipedia, that Apollo's now going. I know it's only a flat ride, but again, that's another investment leaving the park. Apparently, that's due to a breach in contracts.
Oh.
And I think it's just due to service length. Now, we did actually have someone comment who apparently has a connection to the park, who said that the person that actually loans it to the park actually does have other rides. But again, it's the same. It's
so
like
they might switch it out then.
possibly may well do that, and I'd definitely be happy, happy if they did, because it's still keeping something there. But having said that, it's like you said with Oakwood putting in travelling rides, like Water Valley have religiously done that now for years, and there's not really been a massive amount of investment. So from where I'm sitting, like Water Valley seems like it's at make or break, I think, really.
Wow.
And I think they need to take a step back, choose the direction they want to take, and then basically just see how much they can possibly go with it. I mean, do you sort of have any thoughts on that yourself, mate?
Well, I've always never really had the ambition to go. So, I mean, the Ultimate, that's a cool thing, and there's not many of them around, but it's
unique, trust me.
Yeah. I have been on it, but when I was a lot younger, so I can't remember hardly. I can remember it being quite rough, but
That's an understatement, mate.
And it's out the way, and you don't really hear about it much. Even though I live in Manchester, I don't really hear a lot about Lightwater Valley, like I used to about Camelot, for example. Used to hear a lot about that when that was around, and I think
you see again it's one of those. I think it's on the same sort of downward path, really.
Well, I mean, it's only going to take one investment, and now these little parks need to learn this. That Energylandia has set the tone for the industry in Europe, without a doubt.
I agree with that. Oh yeah, definitely.
They've built and built and built and built, and people have arrived, and they've been on rides. They've been there. They've helped the tourism industry over there by doing it. Exactly. I mean, the amount of flights that people have taken just to go over there is ridiculous.
We're currently planning that ourselves as well.
Well, exactly. See,
more about that soon.
And you're not saying, so I'd rather go and ride the Ultimate than go over there and
Oh no, definitely not. No.
And that's the problem. But if they had something like an RMC or a Mack family coaster, or even an Intamin family coaster, something that was, classed as that bracket of like the big four companies like B&M, Intamin, S&S, that kind of thing. Instead of buying really knockoff traveling rides that just don't really hold anything for them. They don't hold anything that you could say, I want to go on that. I want to go to that park to go on that. It reminds me a bit of Southport.
Yeah, same sort of feel.
When Traumatizer went to Blackpool as Infusion, that place just straight down. Right?
Yep.
You got to agree with me on that, because when Infusion opened, Blackpool went straight up, and Southport just meandered away somewhere. Just went for a walk with the hands in the pockets, like, right, well, that's gone, so what do we do now?
That's that done. Let's find a way to move on.
Let's build a go-kart track. That's what people want. A bigger go-kart track.
Sticking another roundabout. Jobs are good.
More car parking space for nothing to park up for. But
exactly.
And even the wooden coaster's gone now, isn't it? Has it?
To us, I've not been down that sort of thing of the country for quite a fair while. But
yes, it has gone. It has gone. They've got a traveling wild mouse there now, I think.
See, again, that's another major sort of bad move for the park. They should have kept a decent sized ride. I mean, this is the thing. If you're not going to put in major investment and you're not going to put in rides that will appeal to the general public, let alone enthusiasts, you will lose the custom and you will go down that path. It's as simple as that. And in today's industry, with parks doing what they're doing on the bigger side of things, these smaller parks need to step up the game. It's as simple as that.
They do.
And they need to learn from that. So, I mean, you brought up a very good point earlier on about park transparency. I mean, do you want to talk a bit more about that, maybe?
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of slightly left of field with what we're talking about, but it's like, like when situations arise, like a ride gets closed down for the day, and people are like, oh, when's it going to open? And if they just turned around to you at the start of the day and gone, it's failed its test this morning, it's not going to open today.
Yeah.
Go to guest services, get a fast track, let's move on from the situation.
Exactly.
Because that doesn't cost the park. That doesn't cost the park anything.
No, it doesn't.
Costs them nothing. What? A piece of ticket? It's not going to cost anything to print. And just say, look, just make your customers more happy. They're doing the right thing at Alton Towers at the moment, where they have that guy John. Is it called John?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and he comes on and says,
rather.
"This is what has happened. This is what happens. This is ride safety and stuff." But you don't do it enough on the days.
No, that's very true.
You just need to be more transparent about what's happening. If Wickerman's not going to be ready for opening day, let us know.
Exactly, because otherwise, you're going to get people turning up. Some of them might specifically make that trip for that, particular ride, and then obviously there's going to be disappointment. If, like you say, you let them know by the time they're actually coming, then people are walking into that park 100% knowing exactly what they're walking into, and I think that's extremely important, especially from that side of things. It's safety first, so you want to know that what you're riding has been safety checked and that everything's clear right across the board. So,
and I think this boils down to what companies have down as procedures for situations, and I think that there needs to be a gray. There's a grey area where you can kind of step outside the procedures, but still come across as if you're doing it,
exactly.
that way.
Yeah,
as being a professional way of doing it.
I mean, funnily enough, actually, as much as I do love Blackpool, I feel that from my personal experience last year, that's something that maybe a couple of their staff could learn from. I mean, I'm not going to name names or anything like that because that's not professional or the way to do it. But there are a few people, on park from my experience that could have learned that last year, and I think that it's important to treat your customers with the respect that they deserve.
Yeah.
Regardless of what situation you're in. So, I mean, obviously that's applicable to sort of the safety side, but also as well, I mean, in terms of transparency, it's good to know exactly where the parks are at as well, as to whether they're getting any sort of new investments and things. And I think and I think with that, obviously, the Merlin seem to be gradually learning that. The smaller parks don't really seem to be getting that. I mean, Flamingo Land are probably the best example of transparency. They told people exactly what they're building. You can physically see it there. And etc. They've been completely above the board with everything. So from that point of view as well, I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. And transparency, we touched on it in the last podcast a little bit where we was talking about Thought Park can't do this, hidden gem sort of thing again where, just wait, it's amazing, you'll see it, and then it turns out to be absolutely garbage. So just be honest with us. If you're going to build a GCI in the next 2 years, let us know, and then we can get hyped about it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, for them as well. I mean, surely that works because people, certainly enthusiasts will even go as far as buying season passes, if they know what's coming. That's going to promote that, which obviously financially for the parks works really well.
I mean, as soon as you start going vertical with the ride, the excitement starts anyway. But, I mean, did the excitement start late for the Wicker Man? No, it started early because the layout got released and everyone was like, "Oh right, okay, let's see how this looks now. We know what it's going to do. Let's see what it does. What's going to be the world's first?" And then the world's first was obviously wood and steel, not wood and fire. So, sorry, yeah,
wood and fire.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I know what I meant.
Yeah.
But it was wooden LED screens, if you want to go that nitpicky. But it was. Well,
to be honest,
that's what it was.
I think the way they did it was actually really, really, well done as well.
It was.
And obviously, it certainly got the public talking. Because I mean, as much as I hate going back to it, the whole thing with the Smiler, obviously they announced it a couple of years after that, and people were like, "Oh, well, wood and fire, is that such a great idea?" And stuff. Well, actually, you know what? When you look at how they did it, there's no safety issues there whatsoever.
Nah, none.
And it's extremely unique. And like you said before, it works very well for the park. It's done its job. It's drawn the crowds in, and that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
So brilliant. What was the other what was the other question we had? We had somebody else ask a question as well.
Yes. Just 1 second. I will get it up.
Brilliant. Just while you're doing that, I've got a shout out as well. We had a guy named Mark get in touch with me earlier on. Now, he actually runs a brand new blog called Northerners Do Attractions. The guy's really, really nice. There's a team of about 3 of them, and they're all actually based up your neck of the woods, mate, up near Manchester.
Okay.
So they've currently got a blog. I believe it's under a different name. In fact, let me just check and find out what that is. But basically, they're actually renaming it very, very soon to Northerners Do Attractions. Now, they haven't actually got any vlogs up as of yet. But what I believe they're doing is they're actually going to be filming one up at Blackpool Pleasure Beach on the opening, which obviously we're going to be at as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to sort of see how that content pans out for them. But the guy himself is called Matt Morrison. He's a really nice guy. The team themselves seem absolutely great. So just love to give them a shout out, really. And obviously, if you
Awesome.
want to go check them out, guys, definitely feel free. They love your sport, so
yeah, make sure you go and check them out. And we'll be sure to say hello when we're up there. The opening.
Absolutely.
Look forward to that.
Definitely.
All right, so I've got
Fingers
the
crossed
question.
we'll bump into.
I've got the question. So it's from. I'm definitely going to butcher your name, so I'm sorry about this. So it's Hiroas Hamseros 14 on Twitter says, "What are your favorite types of roller coaster, and which theme park is your favorite?" Sorry for butchering your name.
So, we say that's. I don't know. That's quite a tough one because I've only got really sort of like UK experience. I'll let you take the lead on this one, mate.
All right. So my favorite type is Mac, multi-launch, so Icon basically. Yeah. My favorite theme park is Alton Towers. Now the reason that is because I enjoy the variety of Alton Towers. You can chill out, you can have fun, you can have as much adrenaline as you want. But at the end of the day, you can do it at a level that you're comfortable with, and you can just relax throughout the day. You can just go in the arcades if you want to. Whereas Blackpool Pleasure Beach, for me, which is my second favourite, is just you've got to get on rides because they're just all in front of you. They're all around. It's like Spaghetti Junction of rides. It's amazing. So
on top of you.
Yeah, exactly. And when you get an Icon and everything's like you're weaving in and out of all the wooden coasters, it's amazing. So. But yeah, no, Alton Towers is my favourite theme park, and my favourite type of ride is Mac, and my second type would be B&M.
Definitely. I think for me, favourite type now, yeah, I'd agree with you that one. After riding Icon, that is something quite special. It's so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how many times you ride it, whether you ride it in, it's just an absolute experience. But I think, my number one coaster, regardless of that, has always got to be Nemesis, and that's a B&M invert.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being the force that thing packs, especially after your first corkscrews, you go on that downwind helix, is just absolutely something else. Mm-hmm. It really is. You get that what I like to call feet tingle as you go sort of around that bend, and you get that throughout the ride and various other turns as well. So for that reason, Alton Towers is my favourite park. And again, it's for the same sort of reason as you.
Yeah, you can do it as hardcore as you want. You could ride coasters all day, or you could feed ducks all day. That's the kind of variety you've got. It's great for families as well.
It really is. And you've got all those fantastic rides, but then you've also got those beautiful gardens that you can just wander off into
mm-hmm.
and just, sit by the lake or sit by the pond or whatever, and just take 5 for yourself. So for that reason, yeah, I'd agree 100%. Alton Towers is definitely my favourite park.
All right.
Thanks for the question, mate.
Yeah, Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Yeah, great question. So, guys, make sure you comment down below as well to these questions. Well, what do you think Oakwood's investment next is going to be? And what are your favourite type of roller coasters, and which theme park is your favourite? Make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to both channels if you haven't already. So we're going to get on now with prediction time for 2020, I believe.
Ooh, looking forward to this.
Now, we don't know our predictions. We've not spoke to each other about our predictions at all. I've got them wrote down in front of me on Notepad, and he's got them wrote down as well. So you know what, Joe? You can have this one. You go first.
Brilliant. Right, so my predictions. So I've got 5 parks. In fact, I want to. Yeah, 5. So I'm going to start off with Thorpe. Now, Thorpe Park haven't had a big investment since 2012, was it, with the Swarm?
Mm-hmm.
So they're very much overdue for a huge investment, and we're talking big. They're going to have to really pull something out if they want to bring, keep these people coming into the park.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, sorry about that.
Okay.
So I reckon we're going to get an announcement of a brand new ride towards the back end of 2020, provisionally opening up, I would say mid-2021, possibly 2022 at the very, very latest.
Wow.
And I reckon new coaster is either going to be, I'm not going to say RMC because that's too cliche, and I'm not going to say
GCI.
I'm not going to say that either. No, I think
I said it for you.
I mean, to be honest, actually no, because with the new chat they've created, yeah, all right, there is a chance, and obviously with the previous things we've sort of discussed with the sort of investment things, that is a strong possibility. However, having said that, I think that Thorpe Park would be the prime park to get the UK's first B&M hypercoaster. The reason being, you've got the room.
Big shout.
Exactly. You've got no height restriction, and I think it would fit perfectly around the back end of that park, sort of like a skyline coaster kind of thing. So for me, I reckon that's going to be the case. Have you got any for Thorpe yourself?
Oh, I can see that So we'll go through all our predictions and then we'll compare them at the end. So that way it's
All
but
right, brilliant.
I can definitely see that, and just adding something onto that. If they're not going to add another water coaster, then this B&M has to have a splashdown, in it. That would be so cool.
That really would, and especially with the lakes and things, and the fact it's an island. I think that would fit, perfectly.
It would.
So moving on to my second one, then I think Alton Towers. I think we're going to be seeing SW9 getting dropped at the back end of this season as well.
Wow.
The reason being, obviously, we've had that little sort of teaser through Christmas 19 on their Twitter account when it said, sort of what do you want most for Christmas? That to me shows that they're thinking about that. It shows that they know that that's what people want next. And I think overall, I think it's a very strong possibility. So for me, I think that's going to happen back end of 2020, around about the same sort of time that we've got the David Walliams announcement as well for that to happen.
Awesome.
So that's for Alton Towers. Lightwater Valley, then, I think that after this season, I think it's crunch time. I think they're either going to close or they're going to close and refurb. I think that after everything that's happened, I think that with that previous incident with Treetop Twister again, I think with this issue with Apollo and stuff like that, and obviously the fact that park numbers are declining steadily, I think that the park is either going to close its gates or they're going to set time out to refurb and take a new direction. And I strongly think it's going to be a family park like Drayton. Right. I've just got that feeling. I think a lot of the stuff they're doing at the moment, in terms of sort of the various things like the puppet shows that they're putting on, these new mascots they've introduced, the fact that they're now opening up as well for February half term with a limited ride lineup, which is all mainly kids rides aimed at under 8s. I think that there's going to be a case of if they do refurb and do carry on going, it's going to be a family park.
Right.
So that potentially, unfortunately, could see the end of the Ultimate, and I really hope that doesn't happen. But
if they do it right, like Paulton's, for example, if they do it like Paulton's, then they could hit the money right on the head there, because
they could really do.
They've made so much money from doing that, adding that that little extra bit of thrill, so they get kind of the thrill seekers in and the families, but the thrill seeker families, if you know what I mean. So you're going to take your kid with you because they're going to come on this ride with you. That sort of thing.
That's true, yeah.
With,
that's very, very true.
The inverted coasters as well, and the boomerang coaster that they've got there, and it looks like a really cool park to visit. It looks really good, and they're doing it right as well. They're doing it with a theme. Like this is Tornado Springs. Is that what it's called?
That's a brand new investment for this year.
Yeah. It looks cool. It looks awesome. That's really good.
It really, really does. And I think it's a part that's they're on the way, but nothing but up basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same as Flamingo Land. I think they're going to be the same. Now that leads on to my sort of next prediction. Flamingo Land, I don't think we're seeing anything for the next 5 years. The reason being that the amount of money they've spent on that ride, they're going to have to start creating some serious comeback from that before they can do anything further. So I reckon that for that one, it's not going to be until maybe 7 to 9 years before we see a next major investment at that park. And that does obviously give them time to, sort of reap the money back from that investment, but also for people to sort of come and visit, for the first time and kind of bring in that whole new level of customer as well. My final one is Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Now, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, as we know, are having a 125th anniversary in 2021. I think not only are we going to get a Valhalla refurb, which we already know about, but I think we're also going to get a new flat ride. And I think it's possibly going to see the removal of Ice Blast in favour of a gyro swing. Very much like the setup at, what's the other park? Where's Loki? Is it Liseberg, is it?
Liseberg, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get something similar to that. The reason being it would be a major frill flat. I think they still need to keep, the thrill seekers coming in. And I think it'd fit in really well with that whole brand new reimagined Valhalla as well. So
yeah, because they could do it as like a Viking area, right? Because it's right near the entrance as well, which would be pretty sweet if they did that really well. That'd be cool.
Imagine it swinging up over the entranceway, you stood waiting to come in.
Yeah, and imagine the view from Valhalla when you look out of the waterfall as well.
It'd be absolutely incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest with Blackpool, I think we're going to be seeing a redesign of the entrance at some point very soon as well. The park obviously is on the way up as well. It's doing better and better each year.
It is.
And I think the current state of the entrance to it, I think that is something that really needs sorting out.
Yeah.
Now, whether we're going to see some sort of system put in this year, I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see that on opening day, and I look forward to doing so. But I think there's going to have to be a major redesign of the entrance, and I think we're going to go sort of down the same sort of design as kind of Alton Towers have with their plaza in terms of sort of, an open setting with sort of quite regimented queuing, well, like a queuing system, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from me, that's it, basically. Those are my 5 predictions.
I can see pretty much all of them being, being pretty close, if not on the money, to be honest with you, because they're great predictions. I really like the idea of bringing in the flat ride to Pleasure Beach. That's something that they definitely need.
I think that's next on their schedule, to be honest. I really do. I can just see it, I really can.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. I hope it does anyway. Definitely.
That'd be cool. Right. Okay. On to mine. Now, mine are a bit more ambitious. Okay. My first one is Drayton Manor will sell up and close in 2020.
Ooh.
Now,
what makes you say that?
because I believe they don't have any more investment plans. Doesn't seem to be anything. You don't hear about them much anymore. They're doing okay, but I think the owners might get to a point where it's just like, you know what, it's time to hand this over to somebody else. Let them do something with it. So, but I think that if they do sell it, it will just close. I don't think it will, it's sitting on a lot of land, that place. And I think that's what it could probably be used for. Now, obviously, this is a wild prediction, but even if half of that's correct, like the sell up and new owners come in and transform it and we get, a B&M Hyper, that'd be amazing. I'd love that. But, you know, I just don't think after everything that's happened in the media, about that little girl and all that kind of stuff, I just don't think they're going to come back much. And with G-Force being removed as well.
Yeah, that's a bit of a downside, isn't it?
And you've got, like you say, you've got Lightwater Valley fighting for the family, attractions now, and you've got Paulton's Park now, and the Gulliver's is literally just, around the corner. So that's
a very good point.
It doesn't hold anything, especially with CBeebies Land at, Alton Towers. It doesn't hold anything against it. You've got 2 cool Gerstlauer, I think the Gerstlauer family coasters that they have at Drayton Manor, themed to Thomas the Tank Engine. They're really cool, but you could put them in any setting and put any theme on them. That's the problem. They need a big investment, similar to Oakwood. But I believe that they're either going to sell up and it closes, or they sell up and someone makes a success of it. But I definitely think they're going to sell up in 2020. So,
and I think that kind of ties in with the recent rumor that I think something was said about them selling Shockwave and Apocalypse as well, going from the park.
Wow. So, I didn't know about that. All right, fair enough. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, that was dropped recently by CoasterGen, I think he's called, Aaron Shalona. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah.
Fair enough. Well, that might be right then. We'll look back in a year's time and say, well, okay, you had that pretty much right. Okay, my next one is Blackpool. In Blackpool, Merlin will buy more outside Pleasure Beach attractions. So possibly the Sandcastle, possibly Wrigley's. Believe it or not, I think it's Wrigley's. What is it? No, I don't know what it's called. Yeah,
Ripley's.
Wrigley's is chewing gum. Other chewing gum brands are available. Yeah, it's been a long week, guys.
That's good.
But yeah, I think they're going to buy more. They're going to put more in, especially with the new, what is it? Is it Central Project or something? Like the project they've got going on, the council have got going on, where they're adding an indoor sort of attractions that they're having up there. I can't quite remember what they are, but I think Merlin are going to put their hands in the pocket and invest something big there to compete with the Pleasure Beach. With all the extra visitors that will be visiting because of this new central project and the way they do Blackpool up, I think Merlin will definitely buy more things there. And there's a Star Trek experience which is just sat there doing nothing next to Sea Life. Maybe they could extend the Sea Life Centre, maybe something like that. So that's kind of where I'm stood with that. So Merlin to buy more attractions in Blackpool. That's my next one.
I think that's highly feasible as well. To be honest with you, I think as well, obviously not a new part, but obviously the airport is now shut as well, so that's a big plot of land there. I mean, if they really want to go big and create a brand new park, even the space is there to do it.
Wow.
Rather than buying up sort of the small things.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen. It's
No.
just a wild stab in the dark one. So
more chance of Paramount moving there.
Blackpool, Paramount, Evelyn, London.
All right. So my next one, Alton Towers splash landings will be completely renovated. I think there's going to be plans soon because it's just not up to scratch compared to all these new Europe parks opening with water parks at the moment. I think that I think that Alton Towers are going to step up their water park game really, and it's going to be announced in 2020. Whether that's new slides, new areas, they're going to extend the they're going to extend the indoor to where the outdoor is at the moment, make it even bigger. Maybe put a beach in there and that kind of thing, make it look really cool. And that's something, to be honest with you, every time I go to splash landings, it never seems to change, ever. And it's and it's pretty pricey for what you get in there as well compared to other places.
I mean, we've not actually been there yet, so I mean, we're planning on doing that for the first time this year, just to for the experience, if nothing else.
It's cool. The slides are cool. The water coaster's cool, but I mean, you have to pay extra. I think you have to pay extra to do certain things. I'm not sure if that's right or not. That definitely have to do it at the sandcastles and stuff like that, Blackpool though. But I mean, I can definitely see Alton Towers going right. Okay, we've got this new hotel. We've got these new star pods. What else can we do around that area? And with the new car park being added,
indeed,
to the back, you could hold more people for splash landings if it was bigger itself. So that's my prediction from Alton Towers. All right.
Awesome.
The big one. So this is my big prediction for Blackpool, that RMC will take over the Grand National, and the layout will be announced towards the end of next year, leading into the 125th anniversary, like you was talking about before. That's my
I like the idea of
big prediction. Now, it's probably not going to happen.
It'd be nice if it does, though, wouldn't it?
It would be very nice if it did. It would be great. But that's where I stand, basically, on next year. So what are your thoughts on that?
I really like the idea of an RMC Grand National. I think, I think it's something that would really bring the customer into the park. It would be the UK's first RMC. I know we touched on this before in the first cast that we did. But I think it's something that worked very well, and that coaster does need something doing with it. Regardless of whether it's a retrack or what, it does need some work doing. So, who knows on that front? I think with regards to Merlin buying up, sort of other attractions and things, I think that's highly feasible. I think Blackpool, especially with its current, investment at Pleasure Beach, and also the Merlin attractions further down, it's like you said, there is room at the Star Trek, which we actually saw the other day. I didn't realise that had actually shut down. In fact, I thought it was just shut for the day.
Did you never go?
Unfortunately, I never did, yeah.
Oh, man, it was amazing.
I didn't even know it was there.
I've got some photos. I believe I've got some photos somewhere on my phone, maybe on my old phone, but I will... I'll send them you over, because all the props from the movies and the TV programs were there. Like legit, the real ones. The real phasers. And they had a room where you could just go and sit in and watch any episode you wanted. From the whole thing.
On that one.
It was incredible. It was expensive.
Sounds like it was worth it though from that.
It was like really 20, I think it was like 20 quid each.
Wow.
Yes, so it was expensive, but you could spend all day in there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And they had a great shop as well. But you could walk in the shop for free if you just go behind, the Sea Life Centre. You can walk in by the market. You can walk in there. But if it opens again, dude, you've got to do it. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I loved Star Trek. I loved Star Trek growing up. Like, it was, I had all the Enterprises figures and all that kind of stuff. So it was really cool.
I mean, I was sort of the same, to be honest with you. I've got to admit, I do know sort of Star Wars a little bit better, but I still love Star Trek, and I still love all the, like the science behind it and everything else, and the fact that a lot of stuff within that has now become science fact.
Oh, they had the bridge as well. Sorry.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
No, I've got to keep an eye on that one. So hopefully that'll reopen. But yeah, no, going back to the original point, I think you're right on the Merlin front. I think they will buy up more properties, and I think that Ripley's is a prime one for them to buy. In fact, I'm surprised they don't even own it already, to be honest.
They might do, yeah.
I'm genuinely shocked they don't. So I think on that front, yeah, I can see that happening. What were the other ones you mentioned as well?
So I've got one more that I completely forgot about. is that Fort Park's layout will get leaked. So it won't be announced. It'll get leaked in 2020 at some point for the new ride.
And I think that, I can really see that happening, I think, especially with Thorpe, I think we're at that crossroads now where something needs to happen. I think the park know it themselves. And I think that they know that not only the enthusiast community calling for it, but I think the general public are now calling for it as well. So, I can definitely see that happening. And I think it'll be, I don't know, late August, early September, maybe, when it does.
Yeah.
I can see it around that time.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I think, and I think it will come from an inside source that this is what the layout will be. It'll be a really, shoddy picture that's just, like
someone's taking it on the phone and sort of accidentally sent it to other people.
And then that'll make Fort Park step up with the social and be like, okay, we do have something that's going on, so we'll be open about it. And hopefully, that happens and we can all rest and sleep perfectly fine knowing that we are getting a new coaster in the UK at some point, especially down south as well. That is going to be a statement and put UK back on the map, because really, other than Icon, Wickerman,
we've not really got any.
We've had nothing, seriously.
We've had nothing major since technically 1994, if you want to look at it that way, because obviously we had the world's highest coaster, didn't we, with the big one.
But Nemesis,
yeah.
Other than that, what have we really had that's made a massive statement? The Smile, you could argue the Smiler maybe because it's the world's most inversions, but that's not going to last long.
No, it's not. No, definitely not. I think that as amazing as that coaster is, I think its life's quite limited. Really, I think something's going to give at some point. And
I do love the Smiler.
Oh, well, I do. To be fair, I could quite happily go around on that all day.
It's got everything. It's got pace, airtime, intensity, and respite as well. When you hit that mid-course break from before you go to the second lift, it's like, okay, let's go. Second half, let's go.
We need to get a joint trip in down to Alton Towers this year as well for definite. In fact, I'll get that sorted with you at some point. So
100%.
But yeah, and I think you're right with Thorpe. I think at some point this year something's going to leak, and I think it's going to be big. What type of coaster, just out of interest, are you thinking? What are your predictions?
I think the contract for the GCI has gone out the window now. I think that's not going to happen. Right. I could see maybe Legoland picking that up instead.
That's a good point, actually, yeah, because something like that would fit the park.
Or even we're not going to touch on it too much, but we're going to talk about Chessington in this episode. But in the next episode, we're going to talk about it a bit more in depth. But even even someone like Chessington could get it, and it'd be a big investment for them, and it would boost Chessington. That's another park that you go to and it never changes.
No, it stays the same. I mean, we've not been there yet, but I've not seen anything, in terms of rides really sort of change in the last 5, maybe even 10 years. The log flume
changed a bit, and Ramesses Revenge obviously has been taken out. So, but that's not good change. No, when I say change, guys, I mean like literally good change. Things that help the park, not decrease its popularity with the the enthusiasts and such.
Yeah.
But no, I would like it to be. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd like it to be a Vekoma.
I think it'd be a good fit for the park, and especially if you look at the way that Abyssus is designed. Mm-hmm. I think something like that would be a really good fit, to be honest. Yeah. Genuinely.
Definitely.
So.
I mean, like a Vekoma Blitz that, 120, 130 feet, but so much intensity to it, and, 8 to 10 inversions, sort of thing. Just wrap it around that land behind the swarm. Stick a cool, dark, diminished theme on it, and you're in for a winner, I think. It's got to be a good layout, and it's got to pack a punch.
I think Vekoma is a very, very underrated brand of ride, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot you can do with them. I don't think people...
No, they're so good right now.
I don't think they give them the justice they deserve, to be honest with you. Especially when you look at what they're doing. Like I keep coming back to it, with Abyssus and the way that ride's been designed. I mean, I know it's obviously not 100% down to them, but that layout is something special.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing that in person, hopefully.
Even modern Intamins now, even S&S, Max Force at Six Flags, that is that's incredible. And the way that track bends, come on. Yeah. Fort Park need to do something that's,
Definitely. So
that's what I hope. That's what I hope, and that's what I think will happen. So, yeah,
definitely. One last topic then, actually. So I recently put a post on Theme Park Insanity about Nemesis Subterra. Now, I'm sure everybody's aware of what the ride is, but that was the basically the sequel to Nemesis, which was the Drop Towers.
Egg the ride.
Egg the ride, exactly. Now, we've been debating as to whether we think it's going to stay or whether it's going to go. Just interested, really, to get your thoughts on that, mate. What you reckon?
Oh, so I always enjoyed Subterra. Now, I was one of these that I liked the theme. I liked the way it was dressed up. I like the facade. I like the way you feel like you are going down when you're in the lift.
Yep.
I didn't see too much wrong with it in the first place. The only thing that kind of bugged me was the fact that the actors had to always be on form for it to feel like a proper experience.
Yeah.
Now, could they replace the actors with a voiceover like Hex, for example?
Possibly.
And they changed the pre-show, so you actually literally feel like you must stand on them spots, otherwise you ain't going anywhere, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool.
I mean, sadly, we never actually got to experience it. And I really wanted to do, but by the time we actually got down to Alton Towers for the first time, it was, well, not for the first time, but by the time we got down around its opening, it had actually shut down already.
It was cool, but the problem with Alton Towers is it always gets so much scrutiny to anything that it opens that isn't a roller coaster.
It does. That is very true.
Because the roller coasters there are such a high standard, and all the rides there hold themselves to such a high standard. As soon as something that isn't, or people don't have the opinion that it's of a high standard compared to everything else, they'll bitch and moan about it.
Oh, yeah. And I think
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I even liked the little skirmaze they had on the way out as well, which really added to it. A lot of confusion when you get out of that lift. When you get back in the lift and you get back out of it, you're like, okay, what am I doing now? Where am I going? And when you step out, you're like, wow, that was different. I think that's the problem. It was too different. It was a bit ahead of its time. If you open that
for the park at the time,
if you open that now, it would be like an all year round scare attraction now, because all these escape rooms and stuff like that have happened in the last 5-6 years.
That is very true. Yeah.
So it's kind of ahead of its time, and it didn't hit the note they wanted to hit. But if they released it, if you do it now and they do it properly now, I think get rid of the actors is possibly. I don't want to get anybody out of a job, but I think that is the best way you could do it. So it feels more authentic, but actually in like a system controlled area, not an actor controlled area.
Yeah. Funny you should say about it. If it opened now. Now, funnily enough, last Scarefest, and not even we noticed this, there was apparently a hidden logo of the Phalanx down near Altonville Mine Towers, which was pointed out by Towers Street. Intrigued about that, because Alton Towers have also said that not only is David Walliams' world opening for next year, but also there's a lot more than just that happening to celebrate their 40th anniversary. Now, I'm really interested about that, because there's been a lot of changes since Merlin had the move that it had recently. So I wonder if that's possibly hinting towards them reopening it.
I think with the success of the I can't remember what the scare attraction was called, but they reopened it for Fireworks Weekend, right? The one next to the Wicker Man. What the
Darkest Depths.
Is that what it was called? So
that's what it's called. Yeah.
People want to be scared.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think, with the Darren Brown Ghost Train as well at Fort Park, I think that's done well. When it runs well, it does well. Gets the queue, gets the people in. So I reckon doing Subterra again, but maybe under a new brand, a new name, and if they do it right, I think it will be a success, because people like this kind of attraction more now. People pay to go in these escape rooms, and they're very similar things, other than you don't have to do a puzzle when you get in Subterra, but you just have to figure out which seat to go into. So it's
how to connect 4.
That'd be different.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's got this horrible. Maybe change the name, because people always call it Subterrible, and it's not. It's not great. So if they do it right and they retheme it, rename it, give it a kick up the ass, and make it really hit home that this is a controlled area, and you shouldn't be anywhere near it. But we're going to let you in just for this one time to go and look at this, thing that's down there. And
it would work really well.
I think it would work well. And the marketing team they have now, the way they might, like we were talking about before, the way they market the Wicker Man, they did a really good job of it. So
they really, really did, and they
I
could potentially
see
do something special for that.
I could see them hitting it out of the park with that.
Definitely. So anyway, that's all from me. I think personally, I'm sort of hoping secretly that it will reopen. And like you said, I think they could do a really good job. But I'll be interested to see. I think I'm going to stay on the fence on that one and see what 2020 brings us.
Well, just quickly, another point on that. The technology is advanced as well.
It has. That is an excellent point.
So they could replace the ride engine inside it, and and make it a more modern version of it. I mean, a lot of the dungeons have the same extremis drop. I believe that's what it's called.
They do, yeah. I went on that on Saturday. The other day when we went to Blackpool.
Well, the one in Subterra was actually, it felt a lot bigger than it was because of the atmosphere and everything. But they are so much fun, They
really are.
And especially with their dungeons not having one. Spoiler alert. Then it's
that's true.
But it does tell you if they have a ride inside. But it's they could definitely make it a more modern. And actually, you know what? That's probably what they've been doing all this time. Is been ripping it out and redoing it up.
I won't be surprised.
Because Towers Loving Care closed, isn't it? It stopped.
Oh, is it? I don't actually know that myself.
Yeah. So there's not been any social this year. So I'm wondering if that's what they've been doing. Is they've been redoing up Subterra, ready for a reopening at some point soon, hopefully.
Definitely. So I mean, luckily enough now, actually, it looks as though we've been able to free ourselves back up for opening day at Alton Towers. So all being well, we should actually be down there for opening day. So
fantastic.
What we'll do is we'll get in there and have a look round. And I think if you guys want to join us, you're more than welcome to do so as well. So you have to let us know nearer the time.
Yeah, we'll do our best to get there. I mean, it's probably a push, but we should be there. Definitely, we should be there.
Fantastic. Yeah. Look forward to it.
So do you want to plug your socials and then we'll get on out of here?
Certainly can do, yep. So we're basically now just under 1,000 likes. And to be honest with you, we'd love it if by sort of start of 2020 season we could try and get up to 1,000 likes. Now, basically, that would obviously ensure that, we're sort of getting our content out there. But as much as that, we have so many plans now for 2020. What we're focusing on this year is creating as much original content as possible. So that's stepping away from us sharing other people's posts, etc. We're still going to be doing that, don't get me wrong, because obviously that's a great way to share the news. But what we want to do is we want to create a more original, sort of like platform in terms of the way we're doing ours. So putting our stamp on it, so to speak.
Yeah, cool.
So if you guys want to see that, please make sure that you like our page. Also, as well, get the word out there. Tell your friends about it. If there's anybody that you know that would like our content, let them know. The more we can sort of share what we do with the world, the better. We also have, sort of Instagram as well. I think we're just under 200. But to be honest with you, we posted a lot of stuff on there that's more just about us rather than actually sort of theme parks as well, as theme park related stuff. So if you want to sort of see more of what we get up to outside of the whole theme park sort of thing, then our Instagram will definitely show you that. Other than that, and Twitter as well, make sure you follow us on Twitter. That's it from us, guys. We're all good.
All right, so you can follow CoasterGen on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and we have a Discord server, so make sure you come in, guys. If you do like No Limits Creations, Planet Coaster, Roller Coaster Tycoon, anything that's to do with gaming and simulations, we have every single channel you can think of in there, and people ready to help out with any questions as well. But yeah, make sure you follow us on Instagram right now, LukeCGUK. You can find me there, and you'll see all the behind the scenes. Like I said before at the start of the podcast, we're using it as our community tab, so you will see everything. So if you saw our little 3D model we did on No Limits for our sports car coaster that's coming next week, you would have actually seen James at the time building the bridge that was in that model. So that's the kind of things that you will see. So yeah, head on over there. Give us a follow. We'll follow you straight back. Shout outs and questions, all that kind of stuff, all on our Instagram. But for this podcast, the first one of the decade, I've been Luke from CoasterGen. He's been Joe from Theme Park Insanity. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Certainly will do, guys. Have a great evening.